Alright everyone, it's Sigewinne pre-release video time. I believe that we've already got a lot of information regarding Sigewinne at this point, and yeah, I think it's not better time to actually look into her, especially before she actually released. We just got a confirmation on her official banner yesterday, and I've already made a video on that. Now today I want to make a more in-depth video looking specifically into her, because I know that many of you do actually love Sigewinne, and I do too. I love her design, right? As you can see here, her color scheme design is actually very good looking. But you know, in terms of her skills and kit, there are a lot to discuss regarding her power level. Well, generally speaking, as I always say whenever we talk about this video, if it's a character that is already your preference, you've already decided to pull for them anyway, then obviously it does not matter in any way. But this kind of pre-release discussion video are for, you know, discussing more about the meta, those of you who are interested into specific character, you know, power level, and to see whether or not the character are really worth it if you want to pull in opposed to other character, because you are sacrificing your primo gems in order to pull for one character in opposed to the other, right? So we are going to be looking into her, and with that, let's just dive into it. Now, I'm pretty sure you've already know a bit about her skills and kit through the live stream, especially if you've got a look into the whole universe site where they officially release her kit. So basically speaking, right, her normal attack. What is that? At first, I thought it was literally a meme, but honestly, it is, right? She is shooting a water bubble into a slime. That is so very adorable, but in terms of damage, it's probably not going to do anything, right? So we're going to be skipping her normal attack. More importantly, it's going to start where her E skill lands, right? So basically speaking, her E skill is for you to heal your whole team, right? So we've got another character that have the ability to heal your whole team without needing her to be on field, right? Because technically speaking, we don't have too many characters that is able to heal your whole team, plus have the ability to be off-field as well, right? Some 5-star healer character like Kokomi doesn't have the ability to heal your whole team unless she's on field for like a few seconds during her burst. Other than that, it's only going to be healing your specific character, right? Other than that, her E skill will have the ability to hold down and, you know, therefore create a bubble like this to hit onto the enemies and potentially deal damage and trap them inside the water bubble if they are small. But the thing is, it's single target first of all, and secondly, as you can see, it does bounce, but at the end of the day, it will not be able to help you apply hydro a lot, not just on a single target enemy, but moreover, in terms of group situation, I do feel that her hydro application is non-existent, especially when enemies are spread out apart from each other. Other than that, she does create 2 source water droplets as well, to actually helps her regenerate her elemental energy. Now, I don't think that Sigewinne will have too much of a problem with her energy recharge, but it's more or less going to be looking into her burst. Now, her burst goal is to basically help her do damage for your team for like 2.5 seconds. Honestly, 2.5 seconds is very short, and moreover, I don't think Sigewinne is going to be able to help you deal that much of a damage through her burst either, because here's the thing, even though you invest into Sigewinne and she's able to do a very good burst number, you know, by compared to your standard, it's an 18-second burst cooldown, right? So therefore you have to wait for a 16-second rotation for Sigewinne to be able to deal, you know, the next burst damage rotation for her to do something, right? You know, her E skill damage is probably gonna be non-existent as well. So at this point in time, the only thing that she's going to be doing best for your whole team is just going to be healing, right? We're not going to be able to rely on her to do any kind of damage that much. Therefore, let's have a look into her talent. So basically, to keep it in short, her talent grants her an 8% hydro damage bonus for her, and also give your whole team a 10 stacks of convalescence. Now, whenever your other team member uses their E skill to deal damage, their E skill will have their damage increase by maximum of 2,800 damage, which is a flat attack increase. So obviously, these damage increase will be a lot better towards the character that does specific E skill damage off field, rather than the E skill damage of one instances like, you know, some of the DPS character, you know, like Kuching, or, you know, even Navia, right? Navia uses her E skill, but it's only going to be 1 instances of damage, or, you know, 2. So it's not going to be able to help that much compared to character like Furina, Chiori, those character who does, or Yae Miko. I'm going to be like listing out and looking into some of the character that gets the most benefit off of her talent in a bit. But overall, from the look of it, this talent is kind of like a saving grace for Sigewinne at this point in time, right? One of the best ability on her kit right now, because for the second passive talent of Sigewinne, it will just allow her to heal more for your whole team. And I mean, at this point in time, right, healer in Genshin Impact does not lack healing in any way, because as long as you have a healer on your team, they will be able to heal you absolutely well unless they are under leveled or you're not investing into their talents, right? They don't have problem with healing. So an extra healing on Sigewinne is just a waste of passive talent at this point in time. Better yet, just give her something else, or just a buff to your whole team, or basically just a buff into her damage would probably be a better situation. So I don't know what Hoyoverse is planning here, unless they are planning to provide more content that saps out your HP so fast that you need these insane amount of healing on Sigewinne. And then the last passive doesn't really help you during battle. Therefore, basically overall, how you're going to be playing Sigewinne, the best way is going to be having her on a off-field character, helping your team healing, right? And also providing that buff for your E skill damage. Otherwise, if you're planning to build her as a DPS, I think that's going to be a bit of a problem, because her basic attack, normal attack, is not going to be dealing that much of a damage, and you have to wait for your burst, which is the part where she deals the most damage if you do want to do that, and it's only available for 2.5 seconds with a 16-second cooldown, which at this point in time, I don't think her kit is shaping up to be very, very good, and it's rather going to be on the more of a bad side at this time. But either that, before we go any further, I want to look specifically a bit into her constellation. Now, her constellation is not officially confirmed yet because we don't have information on that, but based on some of the past data, right, if you look into her C1, technically speaking, now you get more bounce time for her E skill, and also it increased her E skill buff for your whole team, basically a 25% increase if you do the math, which overall is an okay constellation. Does add a bit of more buffing ability to Sigewinne. Now her C2, I would say, is actually pretty nice because it does give you hydro resistance decrease by a 35%, and that is quite huge. Other than that, she does also create herself a shield, but from the look of it, it only applies to her own, so I don't think it actually helps you too much. Therefore, the best part is only going to be the hydro resistance decrease. C3 is actually not that good, right? It's just increased talent level by 3 for your E skill, and it's just basically more healing for your whole team, which, I mean, well, once again, she doesn't really need that much. C4 is okay, right? If you want to have a DPS Sigewinne, then yeah, a 5.5 seconds for her burst uptime is actually, starting to shape up pretty okay. C5, right, increase her burst damage even more, and then C6 is where it actually starts to get insane, right? Because now a maximum of increase a 20% crit rate and 110% crit damage, right? I'm like, when I look at this, I have no idea what Hoyoverse is trying to cook with a C6 Sigewinne, because now, honestly, she would be able to actually do quite a lot with her burst. And honestly speaking, from the look of it, C6 Sigewinne is actually going to be pretty good. Before, most of her skill aren't really that good, but obviously if you get her to C6, well, it is at least something you would expect from how much money you're spending to get a C6 R5 character. So basically that is that. Now, technically speaking, as I've mentioned before, I kind of want to have a look into some of the character that will potentially, you can potentially use Sigewinne buff together, because honestly speaking, there aren't too many characters at this point in time. As we've mentioned, Sigewinne skill mostly buff the character that uses their E skill a lot, right? Mainly, these characters are going to be, Furina, right? Chiori uses her E skill, so Chiori would get her buff. I don't know why you want to have Sigewinne on Chiori team, but other characters, such as Nahida, I believe Nahida's skill would be able to get Sigewinne buff, which is, I mean, okay, right? So Nahida and Furina, one of the better characters, are going to get Sigewinne buff. Yae Miko, right? Fischl as well. Where's our lovely Fischl? Right, these characters will get Sigewinne buff. And last one is, I believe, it's going to be Albedo. At this point in time, I don't think there are any other character would be able to get Sigewinne buff the most, other than, these 6 character. And honestly speaking, how many characters are there you have on your account? Other than, you know, Fischl is one. Probably Yai Miko if you love Yai, but I don't think many of you do have Yai because you already have Fish. Nahida, right? Furina, right? I think those two characters you guys use the most. Chiori and Albedo, I don't think you guys have it either because even I don't. Most of you wouldn't have Chiori as well. Man, honestly speaking, it's only going to be Furina, right? And especially you would want to have Furina on Sigewinne team, because if you run Sigewinne as a sole Hydro character on your team, then guys, where's your Hydro application, right? Then you definitely need another character that can apply Hydro for you, and it's none other than Furina, because if you want any other Hydro character, technically speaking, they won't be able to get Sigewinne buff. So it has to be Furina at this point in time, right? Which is where I want to touch on, you know, basically Sigewinne pros and cons at this point in time, because we've already talked a little bit about Sigewinne. Like, honestly, I've already tried my best to actually find the good side of Sigewinne, but honestly, the only thing I can find that is worthwhile for her is technically the elemental skill damage buff for your whole team. Obviously, there's a healing too, but there are so many competitive characters that has access to healing at this point in time. And by the way, they also overheal, right? Not just Sigewinne has the ability to overheal, most of the other healing character also has overheal. So the only thing is E-skill damage buff, and then any other things that Sigewinne would be capable of, right? You know, her healing capability, as we've mentioned, she doesn't have Hydro application even when he is a Hydro character, right? So that's non-comparable to other Hydro character already. And then, you know, there's the fact that her burst kind of mimics Neuvlet's charge attack, in which Neuvlet is a ton more better at what he does than Sigewinne Burst is able to do. Then everything she may be able to do has already been overshadowed by most characters, right? And also, being a support character, you would love to have weapons that has the ability to buff your whole team. You know, for example, Sigewinne being a bow character, you have access to the elegy, or you know, Favonius bow if your team is lacking in energy recharge, and so there's only the 5-star option, which is probably most of you don't have on your account. So the best option to support your team is going to be, you know, the Favonius bow. Whereas, you know, other Hydro character, you know, like Kokomi, who is a Catalyst character, can have access to TTDS, which is absolutely insane. Moreover, Kokomi has the ability to apply Hydro very good, and if you want to deal damage on Kokomi, yes, she can deal damage as well, right? So Sigewinne is in very hot water, very competitive, so it's actually very hard for her in this situation compared to many other Hydro characters. Like, honestly, look at the amount of Hydro character we've got at this point in time, not to mention many other good support characters we have. We've got Kokomi, we've got Yelan, we've got Nilou, we've got Xingqiu, some of the best sub DPS support Hydro character we've got in the game. Sigewinne, you have to use your Primogems to pull, but whereas if you have Xingqiu, I say that he would probably do almost everything better than Sigewinne, apart from the healing capability, right? Therefore, Sigewinne is best at healing right now, which most of us do not need. And so basically, when looking into Sigewinne artifacts building, I'd say she only has two best sets at this point. I say it's either you go with the Ocean Clam set, or you go with the one of the newest set, right? Song of the Days Past, right? These two sets are, you know, the set that you want to go on her. I just once again recommend you to go with a set that you have the better pieces in, because I mean, that's just going to be better than you trying to farm on a domain that you probably wouldn't be using later on and not getting the piece that you actually want, right? Maybe the Clam set is also good because it is also in the strong box, so you can actually go ahead and get the Clam set there. The three main artifact pieces, you know, just go ahead and use HP percentage, everything for Sigewinne, because she does scales everything off of her HP. For the circlet, guys, I wouldn't recommend you to go with healing bonus and just go ahead and use HP, because Sigewinne already heals more than enough anyway. So rather than that, just build her on the HP, and then she has more ability to maximize the buff of her E skill toward your other character, and also her burst will be able to deal more damage that way as well if you do decide to use it. In terms of weapon wise, like honestly, if you are fully invested into Sigewinne, you're probably gonna go for her weapon already, because that's actually the best, right? Other option, if you're looking for a support option, then energy for the end, then yes, it is there for you. But the absolutely free-to-play options out there are just going to be the 3-star recurve bow, because it gives you an insane amount of HP. I don't even have recurve bow on my account, but if you do have it, there's a very good option. So overall, Sigewinne options are very limited. I actually don't see many options that she can use at this point in time. Other than that, if you want, Favonius bow can also work too. But honestly, not many other options she can make use of right now. So I believe that many of you should have the recurve bow 3-star on your account to make use of it, which is a options that I would just recommend you to give to Sigewinne if you do decide to pull for her. And then at this point in time, guys, it's just basically us looking into some of her best team options that we potentially have right now. I just have to say that objectively speaking, anything that Sigewinne tries or able to do, there are some other character that is good at. So obviously we don't have Sigewinne at this point in time, and guys, I'll just, you know, slot in Neuvillette into that slot for Sigewinne currently. So one of Sigewinne's best team probably going to be a Melt Xiangling team, right? So wow, just imagine that Neuvillette is Sigewinne, okay, right? Just imagine, right? So if Sigewinne is going to be here, and you have, you know, Furina as well, then technically speaking, you can go with Bennett and Xiangling and have Sigewinne basically do her burst during Xiangling burst as well. So that will help either Sigewinne or Xiangling to do Vaporize, which is really good. Or, you know, whenever you are on your downtime, right, you may potentially can have Bennett to use his normal attack during his burst so that he has Pyro application, assuming you do have a Bennett at C6, to potentially do more Vaporize damage. Other than that, I don't think there are much of an options for you to be doing at this point in time. I mean, if you want to go a little bit more hardcore and slot in Kazuha for even more damage buff, then yeah, imagining even if this is a Neuvillette team, Neuvillette will still be able to dish out insane numbers compared to Sigewinne. But assuming this is Sigewinne, yeah, the team basically mostly still apply. You cast everyone burst up, right, set everything up, and then having Bennett on field doing, you know, the normal attack for Vaporize possibility. Other than that, to make use fully of Sigewinne E skill, you can actually potentially slot in, you know, either Yaimiko and then Nahida. This whole team uses their E skill damage to bonus, and then Sigewinne will be able to, you know, make the full use of that. However, here's the thing. So Sigewinne only has 10 convalescence stack. After you hit 10 of your E skill, it's gone, and you have to wait until her E skill comes back on for the damage buff, right? And then once again, if you want Neuvillette to be on this team, then yes, he can also be on this team. Neuvillette can sustain himself, you know, just saying. Or if you want to have, you know, a specific Nilou Bloom team, then I suppose you can also do that with, you know, a triple Hydro setup, right? You can have Sigewinne, Furina, Nilou, and Nahida, and have your Nahida being on field, trying to trigger the Bloom Core, and applying Dendro to, you know, trigger, you know, Nilou Bloom Core as well during that process. So other than that, I feel that Sigewinne will still have many other options that you can use her in if you really do want to. But I won't be going through every single options right here, and assuming that the 4 teams that I've just recommended are probably some of the best teams that Sigewinne have if you do decide to go for it at this point in time. So overall, guys, that is going to be everything about Sigewinne at this point. Now I kind of want to give my impression on every information we have at Sigewinne at this point in time. So first of all, it is still pre-release information. Therefore, I really wish that I am wrong on this pre-release discussion whenever she comes out. I really hope that there will be some kind of magical buff towards Sigewinne, and Hoyoverse does not make her kit this, you know, quote-unquote bad. Honestly speaking, guys, I do not always, you know, talk bad, but this information about Sigewinne right now making her to be pretty bad of a character. It is so not that good compared to so many other Genshin characters that after we look into her kit, we just feel like going to therapy. So I've already tried my best and discussed with, you know, many of my friends who are also TC to look into how good of a potential she can be, and honestly, not many of them is actually able to find anything good about Sigewinne at this point in time, especially when we've got so many good characters out there already, right? Now, we've already know that her constellation will potentially be pretty decent for her. However, guys, if you get her up to a C2, you can just potentially go ahead and get some other characters C2. Like for example, right? You know, if you can invest into Neuvillette with this weapon into C2, or you invest into Nahida to her C2, oh my god, those characters are just going to obliterate everything in their path with all of the buff and damage that they have got. Right, rather than that, just invest into Sigewinne. So a lot of it comes down to opportunity cost at this point in time. If we look into Sigewinne Kit, the only thing I've mentioned that is good about Sigewinne right now is probably going to be the E skill damage boost. Other than that, I don't really think there are any other things I can say good thing about her. I've already tried, guys. Honestly speaking, I've tried, right? I've really tried. Like, once again, I just feel that she is a character that is more fitting to just be a nurse at home and not supposed to be on the battlefield. I really do hope that whenever she comes, there will be some kind of buff that makes her into a better character. So guys, that's everything I have to say to Sigewinne at this point in time. If you do have any suggestions or if you do have any comments regarding Sigewinne, do leave it down in the comment section, as I would love to discuss more with you right there. If you're new to the channel and you do enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe as well as comment and like the video. With that, I really appreciate you guys staying with me to this part of the video, and I will catch you on my next video.